lesson. In this lesson, we're going to talk more about HTML5. We did talk about the history of HTML5 in lesson 6, but this time we're going to be like go a little bit more technical thing and doing like more coding than just like talking about it, okay? So let's start. So far, you know what? Let me just start by removing myself from here because I believe that sometimes that little image there causes some problem. Anyway, so let's start with this thing. What we have been using so far. So we've been using for everything basically to group anything or to use anything as a container. We've been using divs, okay? So all these divs, for example, the first thing that we did last lesson was create like type of container, if you can remember, class, and then we did something like this, like container, and then we just add something inside here. And as you can know, whatever was inside my container will stay in my container, okay? So another thing is that we also could use div to add a navigation, okay? Remember, this class, the fact that I'm using a class and I'm giving it a name of nav, it doesn't mean that the browser knows that what I'm trying to use here is a navigation. It's just for myself or anyone else who read my code to know that whatever happened in here, it is a navigation, okay? So another thing that we probably haven't not talked about it, but we will talk about it today, is the footer, okay? So as you can see, if we will have something literally, let's say here, just something like this, hello, and you have a whole bunch of stuff, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, doesn't matter. And then at the end of your website, you have like some type of footer where do you add any information that you may want. For example, your contact information, it could be like an email, it could be your phone number, or you can go a little bit more, more fancy and just add like a map, like a Google map inside this area, okay? But at the end, the fact that I'm naming this class footer, it doesn't mean that someone knows this is a footer. Like it doesn't mean, I could name this footer, but I can add a navigation here. You see this? So, we're gonna talk more about that in a minute. So, what is the problem with this thing so far? So the problem at this moment is that, as I mentioned before, if you think anyone else will know that this is a footer, that just because it say the word footer, the only problem is that the browser will not know that this is a footer. That's the first problem. And why is that a problem? Well, because the some other readers, stuff like that, any other software that read website for people and things like that, they will not know this is a footer. Okay, yes, they will say whatever they see, but again, the browser will not know that what you are trying to do here is adding a footer. All right, so that's the first problem we have. And the other problem is if let's say you're building your website, you have all this div here, sorry about that, let me just, and I'm putting my footer here, but just because I just being lazy and I don't want to, I don't want to go like, be like, I don't know, I just want to finish my website. And then here, instead of adding a footer, I just put like the end, let's say. Do you see this? This is not a good name for a footer. Even though it says the end, like what do you mean by the end? Do you mean like a line here, or do you mean like your content of your website that ends here? And maybe here you just have like how do you call that, like copyright icon. Do you know that when you create a website that, okay, was, created by this person? So is that the end of the website, or is this the end of the website where you have your map, where you have your contact information, where you have all this stuff together? So that's one of the problems. Just sometimes people give it a bad name. And what is wrong with that? The thing is that if you're working with other people and you are at your job, you just took the day off, you don't want to like look at a computer for the day. But your friend want to help you and you get a request. So you contact your friend and you be like, hey, can you please take a look to my code? They say something is wrong with it. And then you realize that the problem is in the footer. And then you probably will be like, okay, what is the footer? Let me just go ahead and type the word, footer. Because if it's a footer, it should say footer. But then your friend realized after doing a spec element that it is not, called a footer. It's named, like the name is the end. Here we get mad. That's all I have to say. Okay. So, but definitely that's and then again, as I mentioned, I think in chapter 1, I mentioned to you guys that the first thing that you have to think about it when you create a code is it's not like creating the code at the moment. It's like when you create the code and then you're gonna get back to your code at least like in 4 or 5 weeks, or let's say even years, or you probably need your code for something else because you're doing another project and you want to take some code from here to use it in your other project. Or again, you're working for someone and someone have to make some changes and you are not there. So you need to make sure that you write very well code though. Okay, so let's go to the next one. HTML5 elements. So after, dealing with this, that the browser doesn't know what are you talking about, that the browser might be like, okay, I'm not sure what is this. They on HTML5 they came out with some pretty descriptable, I would say, like very well described tags or element. Okay. Here I have 5 of them. I mean, not 5 of them. I just been say 5 because this 5 right here. All right. So, but here I have a few of them. Okay. And let's see then in action. Just keep in mind that when you guys are using this thing, you are not supposed to see much different though. Okay. And I mean much different. I mean about a div, like the difference between this div and this div class, which is going to be called a footer, versus this footer right here. Okay, it's not like you're gonna see like a huge difference between those two or any other, or for example the time, but you will see that in a moment. Okay, but the good thing is that they do have really cool names and names that everybody have to apply to it. Okay, what I'm trying to say is that if this is a footer tag, okay, no one can just come here and say this is my footer, and just do this, because doesn't exist. Like this, it doesn't work like that. It's like everybody who using HTML5, okay, and again, this is what tells the browser what is HTML. Like this file is HTML5. Okay, so everyone have to use and follow the rule that this is a footer tag and not my footer tag. Okay, so I'm gonna just delete that. And let's start with the first one, which is an article. So an article is just independent. It's just like a container, the same way that we did the container. It's just like a content where you can add stuff in there. And when I say adding stuff, let's go ahead and create an article. Okay. And as I mentioned here, it is good for blog post. So let's see what a blog post has. A blog post always has a header, right? And oh well, a title, I would say. And this title will be an H1, and I will say my blog post. Okay, so this is my blog post, and here I'm going to have some, some text, just like this. And as you can see, this is like grouped together, like everything is in one place. And if I want to add another blog post, the only thing that I have to do is literally just copy and paste this thing, or just like remove all this. Because remember, if you're using one thing for one blog post, it means that you probably want to use the same style for every blog post, okay? So it means that you need to use, make sure that you copy and paste the same thing. And just for each blog post, just add the title here. So I'm just gonna go ahead and type title 2 and then title 3, okay? And so on. So that's the first one. The second one, well, it is what it is, a nav, which is a navigation of links, okay? So let me just remove this for now, and I'm just gonna go ahead and type nav, okay, and close it here. Two things to keep in mind. The first thing is, if I just go ahead and look at the definition, it's a set of navigation links, which means that I have to add a whole bunch of links, okay? But for now, I'm gonna do it, but I want you guys to see something, okay? So what I'm gonna do right now is I'm just gonna go ahead and say link 1 and just close this. And I'm gonna go ahead and add another one and just another one. So once I add these 3 links, I want to make sure also to add the edge reference to point to the link, the place where the link have to go. And because I ain't gonna put nothing right now, I'm just gonna go ahead and put what we call today a hashtag. Okay? Yep, a hashtag. In 2020, we call this thing a hashtag. Anyway, so here I'm already have this one, so I'm just gonna go ahead and just refresh the page. Okay? And as you can see, I have 3 links. So what I have to do is just give it a little bit. No, I will not give any style. I'm just gonna go ahead and just add something to separate those links. Okay, so for this one, I'm just gonna add this. Then I will add this, and the last one I don't have to do anything. There you go. Now you guys can see that we have 3 links. So this is a navigation. They look easy. This is the way that you do it. I want to continue with this thing here, but we're gonna get back to this in a few minutes, okay? So you stay tuned, okay? All right, so going back to my blog post, what about if I'm just gonna go ahead and press Control Z to just go back to my blog post right here. And for my next one, I want to add a header. And a header is like a container for intro. In this case, in our blog post, an intro will be basically this thing here, which is the title. And I can just type the word header and just put everything, wrap it up with the header. Okay, oops, what did I do? There you go. So now, as you guys can see, I'm using a header because this part, if you think about a blog post and you're thinking about 2 things when you think about blog post, which is the first part, where it say like the name of the author, the name of the the title, and probably the date also goes here. And then you got everything after that. For example, you could have this, like different paragraph. So right now, this is mine, and I will run this just to make sure you guys can see this. And of course, as I mentioned before, this is not about to make something look better. It's like more about to structure your code, to make sure that when you going back to your code a few days later, even weeks, even year later, you realize what you were trying to do. And as you can see, here is my header. I have my my blog post. You can use as many header as you want. Okay, and yes, you can add header inside an article. For now, these are like the rules that you need to follow at the moment. I'm gonna add this. I'm gonna go ahead and click save, and I'm just gonna do this. As you can see, nothing changed. Just because it's not about this, it's more about the structure. But compare this to just have something. I will show you later. Okay, I will show you what would the other way that we can do this without using HTML5. So the next one, which is the footer, and the footer is what it is. It's a footer. So you add the footer at the end if you want. Of course, footer always go at the end. And here you might want, let's say, your email. My email, I'm just gonna put .com. And here, I'm just gonna go ahead and just push my hashtag. Then I'm gonna refresh, and there you go. And again, nothing's happened. You don't see like you don't see any like line here the same. Hey, after this, I'm a footer. Do you see what I'm saying? So it is just, and again, I know I haven't said this a lot of times, but you know, it's just all about structure. Okay, so let me just go back to the next one. Time. The time define what it is, a date or a time. And I'm gonna take this code here, which is the tag to use a time, and I can add this time in here inside my header, which is inside my blog post. Okay, so this is my time right now. I'm gonna click save. Gonna go ahead and refresh my page, and there you go. What's so special about this thing is that some browser might allow people to add this thing to the calendar. Depends on what you do. Okay, I don't know if you ever see that, and I will tell you something, like if you click here right now, nothing's happening. Okay, but if I go here and I type mail to, and then I will add any email what I'm gonna send this, if you click there, all right, nothing's happened. But if I click here, look what happened. It will open this to send the email to to this person, whoever this person is. So those are little things that you can, those things work fine with it. You don't see it on the front end, but definitely it's doing something on the back end. So same thing with the time. Time, you don't see anything, you know that it's a time, and you know it's there. And of course, it is inside the blog post. So let's see the next one. The next one will be, just go back, the outside, okay? The outside, it is what it is. I know it is what it is, and that's the good thing about this is the good thing about HTML5. It just represent the that is something on the side that you want to add something on the side. And again, I will add it here. Okay. And then I will do this here. And in here, I'm just gonna go ahead and just say go. Should I say Diego go? Yeah, that was funny. Yeah, I'm just gonna add that there. And yes, because it is called like this, probably you might expecting this to be here, but it is not. And again, just because this is my structure here, you need to use some CSS to make this work. But we are not going to focus on this today. We're gonna do this one later. But and again, today the bigger one will be the navigation. So let me just go back. Session. Session is exactly almost the same as an article. Define a session on a container. So now I have all this blog posts. Okay, I have one blog post here. I'm just gonna leave like 3 blog posts, by the way. Just probably 1 or 2. So yeah, 1 or 2. And here I can say session and close the session here. And I know that whatever is here, they are all together. That's the first definition for that. You're putting everything all together like in one place, but you can have multiple sessions. For example, I can have another session here and just say, what would you like to say? Yeah, let's say like HTML5. You can have a H1 and just say HTML5. Okay. And here I can type just gonna have test and test. And of course, I have 2 sessions here. There you go. So I just specify like whatever it is after this is a whole new thing. And whatever is in here, they are all together. So that's how sessions work. They are like a container that they hold like a whole group of things. It's just for you to know they are like whatever you apply here, it might affect everything that is in here. And you probably don't want to do it here. Okay, so that's why you do like different sessions. Let me just go back. And videos. We do have videos here. I want you, the first thing that I'm gonna say is like, of course, allow you to play videos, but we're gonna talk about videos here in more details. Okay. For now, I'm going to leave this one on the side for now, but let me just continue with this one here. And I would like you guys to take a look to this. And according to what you learned so far, try this exercise, stop the video here and just try it. And then at the end, we can take a look at the answers. Let me just go back. Session versus article. If this can hold data, right? This can hold this can be as a container. And this also can hold my information. So why do I need one or the other? And of course, they are not like a perfect definition for this. It just basically, the whole thing that you have to say is like you use session to group together related content, which is, as I mentioned before, this is all together. This all blog posts here. But here, you just have a whole bunch of titles and text, okay? Or paragraph or whatever you want to call it. And an article used to enclose a self-contained piece of content, like a news article or blog post or like a short report, which is here. We're gonna say like we holding this little information right now. We're holding like this header, we're holding, the H1, the title, the time. We are holding all this little thing here. Okay? So that's basically the difference between that. And of course, this is all about, using the difference between div navigation and just the nav tag. And let me just pull this down, which is, I don't think I'm gonna use it anymore. I do not need anything of this for this exercise. So the first thing that I want to add is, remember when we did this navigation, and then we say this, so it's just a whole group of link, and then we just add this link. Just gonna say link 1, other, yeah, let's do a copy and paste thing. So we have link 1, link 2, and link 3, and just to make sure they are not together, let's just do this. Okay, click save. There you go. And of course, they are now blue just because I didn't add my attribute here. They need this to be blue and represent that this is a link. So this is how you create a link. And by the way, look at this. I did not even close my tab and it works. That's weird. Oh yeah, it is HTML, and you know, it's so modern browser, so that doesn't surprise me. Anyway, so this is the first link. So I want to do the same thing using just some div, okay? And what about if I just do this and I add a class and I just here just add like menu, because it is a menu anyway. And here I'm gonna go ahead and just add a list. Okay, and I'm gonna call this link 1. And of course, I need my A tag. Okay. And I'm gonna do this for now. So I'm just gonna go ahead and copy and paste. Let's see, let me close my UL. So far this is what we have. So in order to make this look like this, we have to do some stuff. Like for example, we need to use CSS for this. And when we use CSS to make this work, the first thing that we have to keep in mind is that we have some bullet points here that we probably don't want. So let's go ahead and add some CSS to make this work. Is type the style tag, just add, not at this one, but just the class menu. Okay, and if I do this, li, and I use the property list style type, and I use the value none, and I click save, this is what happened. It removed all the bullet points from there. So that's the first thing that we want to do. So now we need to find a way to make this go up to here. And if you were here in lesson probably 10, I think, you probably might be like, well, if you do this, it could work. But does it work? Let's see. I hope so. There you go. See that? So we learned this in lesson 10 about the float left. So another thing that we want to do is, we probably might want to give it a little space since they are almost the same. And by the way, just adding those little things here, it's pretty easy. Just you can do it from here. It's okay. Just gonna do that. There you go. But I also want to say some like margin, maybe left. I will give it about like 10 pixel maybe. Let's see. Yeah, it's fair. All right. And after this, I might want to do what we call display block. Okay, nothing's happened, but it's there. So I just gonna leave it like this, but you see what I mean, right? Do you see that in order for me to do this, which is displaying this here, I have to do this. Yeah, you probably don't need like this div, it's okay, but you do need to do all this thing here, okay? And more, of course, to make it look much better, right? So that was for the link and I mean navigation, but by the way, remember navigation is just a group of links. So there's a whole bunch of links here and they can become navigation, but not every link on the website, of course, is not, it's not part of the navigation on the top or anything like that. The last one that I want to show you is the video tag. Where is my file? Right here. Okay, so I'm just gonna go really quick on this one, and pretty much it's easy. You just need to add the video element here, and this video I have it here on this file right here. Okay, and the only thing that I'm gonna do is I'm gonna use this video element, and this control you will see why do I need that for. I'm just gonna go ahead and click, and here's video. You can click play, and you can mute the video and all that. But if I remove this and you will click that, you will not see none of those controls here. All right. And of course, I do not recommend, as I mentioned before in other lessons, I don't, I mean, up to you. But the thing is that what I do is I prefer to upload a video on YouTube, and I did an example, a lesson. What was it when I talk about links, and yes, so I prefer to just upload the video to YouTube, and just grab the link from there and embed the video inside my website. That for me is better. I don't have to deal with, the quality of the video, if it's too big, if it's too this or blah, blah, blah. And there's so many things like you need to worry about it. It's like an image. When you deal with an image, it's not just like just going to google.com, download the image that you want, and you just type an img tag here, and that's it, like the image works. It doesn't work like that, okay? I mean, it does, but what I'm trying to say is like you need to at least give the appropriate like height and width, and you want to make sure that is exactly the size that you want. This is for images though. And yeah, that's it for this lesson. In the next lesson, we're gonna talk about a really cool thing that we don't really, yeah, we do use it. You know what? Yeah, we do. We use it a lot. So I'm not gonna say we don't use it much, but yes, we do. And you will see that soon. Okay, I will see you in the next lesson.